ॐ एकदन्ताय विद्महे काञ्चीवासाय धीमहि तन्नो चन्द्रशेखरः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं प्रणौमि दक्षिणामूर्तिव्यासशङ्कररूपिणं ज्योतिर्मयं गुरुं श्रीमच्छन्द्रशेखरसरस्वतीम्। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ दत्तात्रेयसमारम्भां नृसिंहादिकमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, so let us get started right now. So in the last class, in the last two classes, actually, we covered shlokas 1 through 4. So in the first shloka, I'm going to briefly go over that. So in the first shloka, we talked about how Acharya was praying to Ganesha, which is the traditional norm to start any prayer with invocations to Ganesha. And in shloka number 2, he was trying to tell us that he is not making the Subrahmanya Bhujangam shloka himself, but it is Shanmukha himself in the form of Chit from his heart. Shanmukha is making the shloka. Because of Shanmukha's grace is, in his heart, he is able to make the shloka. That is what we saw. And in the third shloka, it says Mayuradirudam. This shloka, we saw that how Acharya was trying to connect the Brahman with something which is an abstract principle with a concrete principle on this world, right? Which you can visualize. So we talked about how the peacock represents the Vedas, and most importantly in this shloka, two things we really saw was how he is hidden in the Mahavakyas in the Vedas, which is like Brahman is hidden, right? It's Gudha. And also we saw how he is giving us his form for us to worship. And he is the savior of the world, Lokapala. That we saw that, okay? And in the fourth shloka, this I said that primarily this is an Upasana shloka, the Subrahmanya Upasana, because this particular shloka, he says that once you come to Tiruchendur, once you come to my Sannidhanam inside the temple, and once you are near me, okay, you have crossed the ocean of samsara and you have reached the other end of the ocean, which is the shore. And the shore is nothing but he standing on the shore. It means he is the eternal abode. So this is like telling us that he will give us mukti. The Samipya Mukti and Salokya Mukti, we saw like two types of mukti in that. And this is what this shloka talks about, okay? And today we will go into shloka number 5, okay? So let us see whether someone can repeat. So who wants to repeat? Volunteers, please. I see Abhiraman, Lakshmi, Lakshmi Narayanan, Nitya, Ravichandran, Vishwanathan.
I can chant, Ravi. If anyone
Sorry?
wants to.
Okay, you can do that? Okay, good. Okay, so when I write the shloka, you see that, in the last letter of this shloka, he is going and combining with the second letter, okay? But when we are chanting, I wanted to tell you this. When we are chanting, you can break here, okay? I did not want to write it that way because the correct way to chant is two ways you can chant. And typically I chant like this, both the lines together, okay? But when I gave you the recording, I gave it like breaking on the first line. So it is going to read like this. Let me just read it once for you and then we will repeat, okay? Yathabdhes taranga layam yanti tunga. Sorry, Yathabdhes taranga layam yanti tungaha tathi vapadas sannidhau sevatam me. Iti vormi panktir nrinam darshayantam sada bhavaye hritsaroje guhamtam. Like that it goes. It goes yanti tungaha. Okay, I'm going to stop there. And when I make it yanti tungaha, then this is will go away. And then it will become tathai vapadas sannidhau sevadam me. Like that it will go. Okay. So let us just break this and chant. Okay. Yathabdes taranga. Lakshminarayan.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yatabdhe taranga. Yatabdhe taranga.
That is yathabdes taranga.
Yatabdhe taranga. Yatabdhe taranga.
Layam yanti tungaha.
Layam yanti tungaha. Layam yanti tungaha.
Tathaivapadas sannidhau.
Tataivapadas sannidhau. Tataivapadas sannidhau.
Sevatam me.
Sevatame. Sevatame.
Iti vormi panktir nrinam.
Idir ormi pankti drana.
Iti vormi panktir nrinam. Iti vormi. Long vowel.
Iti ormi pankti runam.
Nrinam. Yeah.
Itir ormi pankti runam.
அதாவது இத்தீர் இல்ல இதி ஓர்மி இதி ஓர்மி பங்கீர் ரிணாம். ஓகே.
Iti ormi pankti runam.
ரிணாம்.
Iti ormi pankti runam.
தர்ஷயந்தம்.
Darshayantam. Darshayantam.
சதா பாவயே.
Sada bhavaye. Sada bhavaye.
ஹிருத்சரோஜே குஹந்தம்.
Hrusaroje guhantam. Hrusaroje guhantam.
ஓகே. யத்ராப்தேஸ்தரங்காலயம் யாந்தி துங்காஹ.
Yadhabbe saranga layam yanti tungaha. Yadhabbe saranga layam yanti tungaha.
ததைவாபதஸ் சந்நிதௌ சேவதாம் மே.
Tataivapa das sannidhau sevatame. Tataivapa das sannidhau sevatame.
இதி ஓர்மி பங்கீர் ரிணாம் தர்ஷயந்தம்.
Iti ormi pankti runam darshayantam. Iti orma pankti. Iti ormi pankti.
இதி ஓர்மி பங்கீர் ரிணாம் தர்ஷயந்தம்.
Iti ormi pankti runam darshayantam. Iti
சதா பாவயே ஹிருத்சரோஜே குஹந்தம்.
sada bhavaye. Hritsaroje guhantam. Sada bhavaye. Hritsaroje guhantam.
Okay, just to let you know, like shlokas 1 to 6, the learning mode is already available in a video, right? So I don't know whether you have seen that. So please, use that to, chant these shlokas. And I'm going to be uploading 7 until 12. The recording is ready. Everything is ready. All I need to do is I need to just upload them. Okay, maybe after this class today or later, today or tomorrow, I will upload 7 until 12. Okay. Okay, thank you. So in this shloka, let us see what exactly this shloka says. Okay. Yathabdes taranga layam yanti tungasthadhaivapada sannidhau sevadam me. Iti vormi panktir nrinam darshayantam sada bhavaye hritsaroje guhamtam. This is what Acharya says here. Okay. So if you look at the words, Yathabdes taranga. Okay, it goes like this. Yathabdehe tarangaha. Yathabdes tarangaha. Okay. Yathabdehe tarangaha. Layam yanti tungaha. There are 5 words in the first line. Okay. Tathaivapada sannidhau sevadam me. In that, tatha eva apadaha means tathaivapadaha. Okay. Tathaivapadaha sannidhau sevadam me. Like that. Okay. Actually, there are 6 words. So I joined them because those 3 words are combined. Tatha eva apadaha me becomes tathaivapadaha. Then, iti vormi panktir nrunam. Actually, it is iti, iva, urmi, panktihi, nrunam. There are five words here. Okay, iti iva urmi panktihi nrunam darshayantam. Okay, that is the 6th word on that. Sada bhavaye hrit saroje. There are 2 words. Hrit saroje guham tam. Okay, so this is how the actual padacheda is there. So we need to understand the meaning of all these words one by one. As we go into the next anvaya, automatically I will talk about the meaning as well as the actually the purport of this whole shloka. Okay, and we will go into this deeply because this has a lot of significance. Okay, so in the anvaya, what he really says is, I just added, like a little bit here. Okay. So what it is really saying is, I'm going to go to the verb here. Okay. Which is called the Kriya Pada. Bhavaye. Bhavaye means I meditate. Okay. I meditate where? Okay. Sada Hrit Saroje. Actually, Sada means always, right? Sada bhavaye, always I meditate. Aham sada bhavaye, I always meditate. Hrit saroje, in the heart, actually in the lotus of my heart. Okay. Oops. Hrit saroje, I am always meditating. Who am I meditating? Tam guham. That guha. So here guha refers to Shanmukha, Skanda, Murugan. Okay. So tam guham. Aham sada hritsaroje bhavaye. I am meditating him. I am meditating on that Muruga in my heart always. Okay. Then we go to the 3rd line. And he says, iti urmi panktihi darshayantam ivastitam. What he is showing is urmi panktihi. Urmi means waves. Like, the ocean waves. The waves. Panktihi. Pankti means like the series of waves. The waves come one after the other, right? So it is called Urmi Panktihi. So what that Muruga is doing is, that Guha, what exactly he is doing right at this minute is, he is showing us, Darshayantam. He is showing us the Urmi Panktihi. He is showing us the waves which is coming, right? The series of waves which is coming. Like that he is standing. Iti Urmi Panktihi Darshayantam Ivastitam. That Muruga, I am meditating always in my heart. Why is he showing this? What exactly does he mean by showing it to me like that? That comes in the first 2 lines. Okay. Iti Urmi Panktihi. Iti means like that. Okay. Like what is happening in these first 2 lines. So what he is saying is, Yatha Tungaha Abdehe Layam. Yatha Tungaha Abdehe Tarangaha Layam Yanti. Like. Yatha means like. Tungaha Abdehe Tarangaha. Tunga means like tall or huge. Okay. Abdehe, ocean. Tarangaha, waves. Abdi is ocean. Okay. Abdehe Tarangaha means like the ocean waves. Okay. Big ocean waves. Like the big ocean waves, Layam Yanti, they get destroyed. Typically, the waves, however big it is, as soon as it reaches the shore, it becomes small, right? We all see that, right? It becomes big sometimes in the evening, and then again, it just touches the shore. Maybe it comes a little bit inside the shore, but it always becomes a 0 point. Then it goes back, and then it comes back again. That is what he is saying. Yatha tungaha abdehe tarangaha layam yanti, like all these waves coming and, like getting nullified or getting destroyed. Okay, tada eva, in the similar manner, okay, likewise, okay, me sannidau, in my sannidhi. So in the previous shloka also he said sannidhanam, he used. Here it is saying sannidhau. Sannidhau means in my presence, in my neighborhood, right? Sevatam drinam. Drinam means human beings, okay? Manushyaha, whoever is coming and worshipping me, sevatam, okay? Apadaha layam yanti. Drinam apadaha layam yanti. So those people who are worshipping in my sannidhi, their apadaha means difficulties, dangers, layam yanti. They'll get destroyed. So, like the big ocean waves, they get destroyed. Okay. In my presence, all the difficulties of those human beings will get destroyed. It means whoever comes to him, okay, all the difficulties of the persons get destroyed. So layam yanti needs to be like reused. So I put it here like this in brackets. Okay. I am showing that to you. That is what? Iti urmi panktihi. So I am showing you the waves. Okay. The series of waves here, standing here, I am showing it to you. Like that. That Muruga, I am meditating. See here, it is like the Kalpana Shakti. Okay. Like Acharya is a great poet. So his imagination, looking at the waves, he just gets a poem out of that. So last shloka, looking at the ocean and the shore of the ocean, he just made a poem on that, saying that, you are crossing the Bhavasagara. Okay, that is what he said in the last one. But here, what he is saying is, looking at the waves specifically, and then when you look at the waves, he says, like any big wave, small or big or whatever, as soon as it touches the shore, it gets destroyed. Similarly, whoever comes to my Sannidhi, their difficulties will get destroyed. And that is what I am pointing it to you. I am showing it to you, okay, by showing the series of waves. I am standing on the ocean shore for that reason. That is what it means, right? Tham guham sada kritsaroje bhavaye. So that particular Muruga, okay, I am always worshipping him. Okay, I am always meditating on him in my heart, he says. Now, there are some, important things we need to understand. Apadaha layam yanti. What are these apadas? What are exactly the difficulties? So, there are three types of tapatraya, we say in Sanskrit. Okay. Tapa means, generally, tapa means like some kind of an agony. Okay. The physical agony or pain, let us say. Okay. The mental or physical pain is tapa. Tapatraya means there are three types of them. What are those? They are known as Adi Bhaudika, Adi Daivika, and Adhyatmika. Okay. Bhaudika comes from the word actually Bhuta. Okay. So Adi Bhaudika, Adi Daivika, that comes from Daivam, right? And Adhyatmika, okay, that is Atma is the self, right? Adhyatmika. So these words come from that. So these are all three types of difficulties one has. What is Adhyatmika? Adhyatmika difficulty means anything which is related to the physical and the mental problem. So like we have a lot of physical problems sometimes, physical pain. Okay. And then the mental stress. Sometimes people just overthink and they get into mental stress. And then there is physical pain, right? These are basically adhyatmika. And the physical and the mental things in the body, they show in three different forms. Actually, it could be like a genetic problem. It, like from the birth it is coming. And, it could be something which you got it today, just today. You did something, not correct. Like you ran 20 miles today and suddenly you have a, like leg pain, something like that, let us say. So those are physical pains and mental pain. But generally in Ayurveda, they say there is a Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These are three different types of bodies, they say. These need to be balanced. Then only our health will be good. Okay. This is like a holistic approach for Ayurveda. So the physical and the mental illnesses, they're all connected with Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Okay. It just goes there. Now, sometimes what happens is you get something genetically that is different, but sometimes, like we get it ourselves. Okay. Just by eating the wrong type of food, or one day you overeat, you have stomach pain. Like these kind of things are also go into this, right? So the Adi Bhaudika is typically which is caused by other beings. Like, for example, a mosquito bite itself could be considered as an Adi Bhaudika. Okay, you go into a forest, a lion is coming and attacking you, a snake is coming and attacking. So those things are caused by Adi Bhaudika, other living beings. It is not only animals, okay? It could be even living beings. My neighbor, let us say, I have a problem with my neighbor. Whenever I see him, I can't stand him, he cannot stand me. Okay, this is like he is causing me, some kind of a mental stress and physical stress. So that is kind of Adi Bhaudika. And Adi Daivika, we know that, typically Adi Daivika is something like an earthquake coming, tsunami coming, COVID-19, for example. Okay, that Sita, Ushna, all, like those kind of things are caused, we say, like they are caused by the demigods, we say. Actually, they are not demigods. They are somebody like a Vayu, right? Yeah, cyclone is coming, right? A hurricane is coming. So you know what it is, right? It is water and wind together. So those kind of things we say, like we say Vayu, we say Varuna, like that. So those kind of things are caused by Adi Daivika. So finally, what happens is all these difficulties, whether they are Adi Daivika or Adi Bhaudika, finally everything comes to Adhyatmika. You know why? Because you are the witness for all this. And then we have a memory. We go and put everything into our memory. And then most of the problems today is basically the mental problem, the mental illnesses. Okay, like people get depressed because they will be always thinking about the past. Like somebody did something bad for them, or like anything which is negative they think. So everything reacts to that Adhyatmika. Now, why am I saying this in detail? Because so when you do, like these days they say you do meditation. So if you do meditation, they say, it releases your stress, right? Like that they say. So here he is pointing that out. Hritsaroje bhavaye. So I am meditating on that Subrahmanya in my heart. So by doing all that, this will go away. That is one way to interpret the shloka. The other way is physically I'll go to Tiruchendur, I will pray to Subrahmanya, he will remove my obstacles. That is also it meant. So it is like both ways. You have to take it like both ways. Okay, because our mental illnesses go away by de-stressing ourselves. Okay, and by meditating on God, and then who is the supreme reality, and then eventually realizing it, everything will go away. All problems will go away. So that is another way of looking at it. Okay. And here, one important thing I wanted to say is Apadaha. So who are all like really worship Subrahmanya? If you see Ramayana, okay, in Balakanda, what is happening is Vishwamitra takes Rama and Lakshmana to the forest. So we all know the story. And then when he is going into the forest, he is taking them to different places. He is telling them some stories. And one of the stories he told was Subrahmanya, like Subrahmanya Jananam. How was Subrahmanya born? And what was the occasion and why it happened like that? He told the story. It means the birth of Subrahmanya happened even before Ramayana. Okay. Or the story happened even before Ramayana. Okay. That said, but what happens is then Rama, like Vishwamitra takes them to Janaka and then gets them married with Sita and all that. Dasharatha comes, then everybody comes back. And then one fine day, Dasharatha wants to make Rama the king. And that is the time, like the trouble starts. So we know the story. He needed to go to the forest for 14 years because of Kaikeyi. Now he knows that he needs to go to the forest. So first, it is called the Aranya Kanda, the next Kanda, right? So he goes to his mother, Kausalya, and he is telling her, like, please allow me to go to forest. He is justifying all the reasons why he should go to the forest and everything. At that time, Kausalya is sad, but at the same time, she is saying, like, a lot of prayers. Who will protect you and all those things she will say. And one of the important things is she says, I do Shiva Puja. Okay. 225, 45. Okay. 45th shloka, she says, like she is doing Shiva Puja. Maya Archita Devaganaha Shivada Yoho Maharshiyo Bhuta Maha Asura Uragaha. Like that she goes. So she says, oh Rama, worship by me. Let the hosts of gods headed by Shiva, the supreme being, the great sages, like that it goes. Okay, let all of them protect you in the forest. So in the same line, she comes and then says, Smritihi Dhriti cha dharma cha pantu tvam putra sarvataha. Okay, so she says that, like may the Veda, okay, Ishruti, right? Smriti, and all this and dharma. Let them protect you. But there he says, Skandaha cha Bhagavan Deva Soma sa Brihaspatihi. She is specifically mentioning Skanda. She's saying, let Skanda protect you. So she used to worship Skanda as well. So think about it. A mother is really worried that her son is going into the forest for 14 years. And those days, like the forests were very treacherous because there were a lot of demons and everything. In spite of Rama being, like a great warrior and everything, a mother is a mother. She's always worried about the son. So she is praying to Skanda. So typically, like in our South India, we have seen, like whenever we go someplace, we will go and do Namaskaram. Before we catch a train or a bus or, like going to another city, we'll go and do Namaskaram to our parents as well as to the Puja Mandir. And then they'll put some vibhuti on our forehead, right? Just to protect it. So maybe Kausalya also put the Skanda's vibhuti on his forehead. I am saying this because the Skanda's vibhuti is very efficacious, right? We are going to talk about it in another shloka there. In the Apasmara Kushtakshayarsa, in that shloka, we are going to see this. So Rama was given the protection of Skanda. So Apadaha Layam Yanti. So it is not only for you and me, it is for even people like Rama, Apadaha Layam Yanti. That is what we need to think about it. And then the second one is Hritsaroje Guhamtam. I'm going to talk about this. Guha means one who is hiding or hidden. Okay. Actually, I'm going to talk about in the 7th shloka a little bit more on Guha. But let us assume Guha means one who is hidden. Okay. He is hidden in our heart's cave. Guhaikulla olinjindirukanga mari. Okay. Guha means he is hiding in a cave. Okay. That is Guha. So Hritsaroje Bhavaye. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more here. See, there is in Chandogya Upanishad, there is something known as Dahara Vidya. Okay. And even in Brahma Sutras, like there is there are places where it is called Daharadikaranam, and even in Narayana Upanishad of Yajurveda, we talk about like Dahara Vidya. Okay. So you would have heard this particular chant when they give Purna Kumbham to a sannyasi and all that in temples. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena ike, like that it will go, right? In that chant, there is a particular line which says, Dahram vipapam parameshva bhutam yat pundarikam puramadhya sagristham Tatrapi dahram gaganam vishokas tasmin yadantastadupasitavyam. It says, this shloka is very important because this is what Acharya is talking here for Hrit Saroje. Okay. let's just look at it a little bit, because this is how we all should meditate. Okay. But this particular shloka, what I chanted right now, that Dahram Vipapam. So when Swami Vidyaranya, he is giving commentary, he says it is for Manda Adhikari. Manda Adhikari means, like we know in Tamil and all that, when we say Mandam means he's a little bit, like dull. Okay. We kind of like use the word in that sense, but actually Manda means it's not like that. It's a little bit less. Okay. There is a Uttama Adhikari and there is a Manda Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari means one who is like so perfect. You just tell them, they get it. Okay. What do they get? So a Uttama Adhikari is one, if he sits in meditation, they are able to immediately realize the self in the heart. So we say the spiritual heart is on the right side of our chest. So if a Uttama Adhikari sits in meditation and they just think about the self, immediately they get absorbed into the self. That is what Uttama Adhikari is. For Manda Adhikaris, who do not, we can intellectually understand self, or we can't even like do that, let us say, those people are Manda Adhikaris in different grades. So the Manda Adhikari, they have to have other methods to think about the self, which is what the shloka says. Okay, so it says, Yat Pundarikam, okay, Dahram. So Yat Pundarikam means in that 8-petaled lotus. Actually, Pundarikam means it is lotus, but Vidyaranya adds, Swami Vidyaranya adds 8-petaled lotus. In that 8-petaled lotus, Dahram, there is a small, Dahram means it is a small. Okay. There is a small Akasha, means there is a small space which is there in that 8-petaled lotus, which is called your heart, the spiritual heart. Okay. In that spiritual heart, okay, Vipapam, it is not affected by anything. Okay. It is basically pure. It is not affected by any sins or anything for that matter, right? It is so pure. There, Parameshwara Bhutam, it is a home for Parameshwara. So Bhagavan sits there in that heart. That's what it says. But again, it goes further. Tatrapi Dahram Gaganam Vishokas Tasmin Yadantas Tadupasit Avyam. Okay. Tatrapi, in that, okay, in that Dahram, I mean, in that little heart, what you have, in that 8-petal little heart, what you are visualizing, in that heart, you meditate on Gaganam, means pure Chit. Okay, here it means Chit. So in that little heart, you meditate on that consciousness. Okay, Upasitavyam, that should be contemplated on. He says, okay, Tasmin Yadantaha. So within that, like that it goes. So the basic idea is, for people like us, this Dahara Vidya is one of the meditation techniques we should practice often. Okay. Whenever you sit for chanting Subrahmanya shloka, or you are hearing Subrahmanya Bhujangam, but you just meditate on the six-faced Subrahmanya, the six-faced Chit, like what we saw in shloka 2. Okay. Chideka Shadasya, that particular Chideka Shadasya, you meditate on that in that little bit of lotus you have on the right side of your heart. This is known as Dahara Vidya. Okay. So what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to meditate on Guha like that, because Guha is anyway hidden. So right now we see he is hidden, right? Because he is not straightforward showing. That Guha who is standing there on the ocean, on the shore of the ocean, he is so beautiful, he is attractive. That is one part of it. So the other part is the Guha who is inside our heart. So he is meditating on this Guha. That is the Anvaya of this shloka. So if you meditate on Guha, two things are going to happen. Okay. All your difficulties will go away. That is what this means. Or if you go to Tiruchendur and take a darshan of Guha, Subrahmanya, all your difficulties will go away. That is the purport of this shloka. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is shloka 6. சொல்றேலா?
நான் சொல்றேன் உங்களோட.
Okay. गिरौ मन्निवासे
गिरौ मन्निवासे गिरौ मन्निवासे
नरायेधिरूढाः
नरायेधिरूढाः नरायेधिरूढाः
तदा पर्वते
तदा पर्वते
राजते तेधिरूढाः
राजते तेधिरूढाः राजते तेधिरूढाः.
இங்க இல்ல ராஜதே தேதி ரூடாக.
राजते तेधिरूढाः.
Yes.
राजते तेधिरूढाः.
रूढाः. Okay. इतीव ब्रुवन्
इतीव ब्रुवन् इतीव ब्रुवन्
गन्धशैलाधिरूढः
गन्धशैलाधि sorry
गन्धशैलाधिरूढः
गन्धशैलाधिरूढः गन्धशैलाधिरूढः.
सदेवो मुदे मे
सदेवो मुदेमि सदेवो मुदेमि
सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु
सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु.
गिरौ मन्निवासे नरायेधिरूढाः
गिरौ मन्निवासे नरायेधिरूढाः गिरौ मन्निवासे नरायेधिरूढाः.
तदा पर्वते राजते तेधिरूढाः
सदा पर्वते राजते तेधिरूढाः सदा पर्वते राजते तेधिरूढाः.
इतीव ब्रुवन् गन्धशैलाधिरूढः
इतीव ब्रुवन् गन्धशैलाधिरूढः इतीव ब्रुवन् गन्धशैलाधिरूढः.
सदेवो मुदे मे सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु
सदेवो मुदे मे सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु सदेवो
षण्मुखोऽस्तु
सदेवो मुदे मे सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु
षण्मुखोऽस्तु. Okay. Okay, if you understand each of the words, then it may be a little bit easier. Okay, so in the padacheda we say girau mannivase nara yedhi rudhaha. Actually there are 6 words there. Girau mayi nivase becomes mannivase naraha ye adhirudaha. Adhirudaha we have seen even in like mayuradhirudam isa. Adhirudam means one who is ascended on. Okay, one who has climbed. Okay, adhirudaha. Okay, tada parvate rajate te adhirudaha. Tada parvate rajate te adhirudaha. Okay, that is what it is. Okay, itiva bruvan. Okay, gandha shailadhirudaha becomes gandha shaila adhirudaha. Okay, iti iva bruvan gandha shaila adhirudaha. सदेवो मुदे मे सदा षण्मुखोऽस्तु. सदेवो सह देवः मुदे मे is clear. सदा षण्मुखः अस्तु becomes षण्मुखोऽस्तु. सदेवः मुदे मे सदा षण्मुखः अस्तु. Okay, so this is the actual padacheda for this. Let us look at the anvaya. Okay. गिरौ मन्निवासे नरा येधिरूढाः तदा पर्वते राजते तेधिरूढाः. So ये नराः मयि निवासे गिरौ अधिरूढाः भवन्ति तदा ते राजते पर्वते अधिरूढाः भवन्ति. Okay, that is what it means. That bhavanti I am adding there. Okay, iti bruvan iva gandha shailadhirudaha sa shanmukaha devaha sada me mude astu. Okay, so what is the kriya padam here? Kriya padam is the verb astu. Actually I would say mude astu. Muda means happiness. There's some kind of happiness. So happiness is always in degrees. Let's just look at that. But here mude astu means let there be happiness for me. Let him give me mude astu. Let him be my happiness. Let whom be my happiness? Sa Shanmukha Devaha. That Shanmukha Deva, that Shanmukha God, that God Shanmukha, me mude astu sada, always. Okay. Let that Shanmukha God be my happiness all the time. That is what he says here. Okay. So again, okay, that is fine. Which Shanmukha? Bruvan iva gandha shailadhirudaha. In the third line it goes. Bruvan, he is saying something. What he is saying? Gandha shailadhirudaha. He is standing on the gandha shaila. Okay, adhirudaha means we saw ascending. So he is standing on the gandha shaila. Okay, he is saying, I am standing on the gandha shaila, like he is saying. Iti means like what? Like the previous two lines. The previous two lines, what he says, Ye naraha, mai nivase girau adhirudaha. Ye naraha, those human beings. Mai nivase girau. Giri is hill. Mai nivase, my residence. Nivasam means residence, house, right? My house on the hill. Okay, adhirudaha bhavanti. Those people. Okay, those people who have ascended my house, okay, on the hill, okay, tada, at that moment itself, tada, that likewise, or like immediately, at that moment, okay, te rajate parvate adhirudaha. Te means those people, rajate parvate. Rajas mean, like we say swarnam, Rajasam and all that. It means silver actually. Okay. Rajate Parvate means the silvery mountain. Adhirudaha bhavanti. What he's saying is, those who climbed my house, okay, on the top of the hill, okay, those who have climbed that, at that moment itself they have climbed that silvery mountain. Okay. I am showing this. Okay, Iti Bruvan. I am telling you this by standing on top of Gandha Shaila Adhirudaha. Gandha Shaila means the sandalwood. Actually, Gandha means sandalwood. Gandha Shaila is the sandalwood hill or the sandalwood mountain. Let us say hill, Shaila. Okay. Adhirudaha means they have climbed on the. I am Gandha Shaila Adhirudaha means I am the one who has ascended on the Gandha Shaila, on the sandalwood hill. I am standing here and I am telling you that whoever has climbed the same, like my hill, which is the Gandha Shaila, who has climbed that hill, at that moment itself, they have climbed the silvery hill. Okay. And I am worshipping that, let that Shanmukha be my happiness always. That is what he said. So what he really says is, there is actually, like Tiruchendur is supposed to be on top of a hill. We know that, like Murugan temples are typically on top of some hill, big or small. They are always on top of a hill, right? So Gandha Shaila is a hill there in Tiruchendur. So it looks like 2,500 years ago, maybe it was very prominent. Okay. But right now, with all the changes and everything, you don't see it. Okay. But there is a place there called like Valli Guhai. Okay. And that place is a little bit away, and there is a small hill there. So maybe Shankaracharya is talking about that hill, the whole place as a hill, or maybe there was a hill like where the temple is here right now today, right? So that particular hill was full of sandalwood trees. So it is a sandalwood hill. So in that sandalwood hill, that is my residence. Muruga says that is my residence, right? If any people have reached that hill, at that moment itself, they have reached Rajate Parvate Adhirudaha. They have climbed the silvery hill. So what is the silvery hill? The silvery hill is Kailasha, where Bhagavan Shiva stays. Because it is in the Himalayas, it is always covered in snow. It looks like a silvery hill. Okay, that is what he is trying to say. So the moment you reach Tiruchendur and go inside the temple and worship Muruga, okay, who gives you happiness. Let's just talk about that, what happiness it is, okay, in a moment. So he says, the moment you go to Tiruchendur and look at the Muruga who is standing on top of the sandalwood hill, okay, at the same time you have climbed Kailasa, which is like the Shiva's hill. That is what he is indicating there. Okay. So now Muda means, like happiness. Muda karata modakam sadavi mukti sadakam, we say, right? For Ganesha. So he gives you Muda. Actually, the Korakattai or Modaka in his hands is supposed to give you Muda. It is happiness. But happiness, like it's there in different grades. There is happiness in our lives. Depending on, like suppose you want something, like you are hungry, okay? Let us say you've been hungry for a couple of hours. Now you want food. The moment you see food, there is some kind of a satisfaction. The moment you eat the food, that is also happiness, okay? But then, like those kind of happiness comes and goes. Okay, you don't have a place to live. You bought a house, you are happy. Your car is broken down, you bought a new car, you are happy. Like, like those happiness could be like long-term happiness. You own a car for 10 years, you live in a house for 15 years, like that, those are long-term happiness. But all these happiness, however, they keep going away. There is a sukha there, but that also, at some point they will lead to dukkha. All this happiness, which are basically in the realm of Maya, will give you sukha as well as dukkha. Okay. They are happiness, no question about it. But at the end of the spectrum of happiness is the bliss. Sat, Chit, and Ananda, we say, right? That Ananda, which is, like gotten by knowing the self, the Brahman, that is Muda. Okay. That particular happiness is Murugan. So let him be that happiness. So obviously, once you keep Murugan in your heart, like the meditations, like we talked in the previous shlokas, then you are going to get that kind of a happiness. Okay. So that is one aspect of this shloka. The second aspect is, why is he saying that if you climb my hill, you will go to Kailasa? What that really means. So in fourth shloka, I said that, that is a shloka for Upasana. And then I said there are 4 types of muktis in Krama muktis. I said Salokya mukti and Samipya mukti, Sarupya mukti and Sayujya mukti, I said. Salokya is co-locating with the deity whom you are worshipping. Samipya is going even further, okay, and living closer to the deity. Sarupya is getting the form of the deity, and Sayujya is merging with the deity and Brahman in the end, okay. So that fourth shloka, I said it talks about Salokya and Samipya, means co-locating. The moment you go to Tiruchendur and go inside the temple and then worship Muruga, it is like getting Salokya and Samipya Mukti. You are already liberated because you have crossed the ocean, samsara ocean. That is what he says there, right? So that is that Mukti. And here, Tadate Rajate Parvade Adirudaha means Muruga is the form of Shiva. Actually, Shiva, okay, here, you have to look at another word in this shloka, which is Shanmukhaha. Shanmukhaha means the 6-faced one. So we saw that, like in the second shloka where he says, Chideka Shadasya, the 6-faced one, he says, right? It is that same Shanmukha we are trying to talk here. So what exactly that Shanmukha means, okay? What are the 6 faces of Shanmukha mean? Okay. Like after Deepavali, in that Skanda Sashti comes, right? At that time we do the Trishati. It is called like Shatru Samhara Trishati. We do that special Trishati, and then we do the Trishati for all the 6 faces of Shanmukha. In that, it like when you chant the Trishati, it has a lot of Bijaksharas, and then it starts with like this. For the first phase, like Shiva has 5 faces: Sadhyojadam, Vamadevam, Aghoram, Tatpurusham, Ishanam, like that. So the Sadyojada phase corresponds to Na, the letter Na. Vamadeva corresponds to Ma. Okay. And Aghora corresponds to She. And Tatpurusha corresponds to Va. And Ishana corresponds to Ya. Means like Nama, Shiva, Ya, right? There are 5 letters. And then there are 5 faces. That is what those are the 5 faces of Shiva. And Adhomukha is the 6th face, which is pointing inside, which is facing inside. These 4 faces are pointing like east, west, north, south, like that. And then one on top, which is facing the sky, right? Which is facing the sky, which is the Ishana. But Adhomukha is something which is pointing inside. That is the face of Shanmukha. Okay, so when you worship Muruga, we face we worship him as 6 faces, because we also worship the Adhomukha of Shiva, and it is also associated with Devi Ambal. Okay, so for that particular mukha, like Namah Shivaya, all 5 letters are gone, right? And 5 faces are gone. So for the 6th phase, what is that letter? We use the word is basically Shakti Panchakshari. See, that is one of the reasons traditionally in our Kanchi Kamakoti Madam and other places, women, they don't use Om. Like when you are chanting a shloka, you don't say Om Namah Shivaya, you say Namah Shivaya. You say Om Narayana Namaha. Instead of that, you will say Narayana Namaha. Because that is the Shakti Bijakshari. So women are form of the Shakti. They say you use the Shakti Bijakshari. So the Adhomukha corresponds to Shakti and uses that Shakti Bijakshari Okay. This is the Tatparya of Shanmukha. Right. And because he is Shanmukha and he is a form of Shiva, and he is having the 5 faces of Shiva and also face of Ambal, which is the 6th face, and he is also Brahman. He is telling you, if you come to Tiruchendur, don't worry, you are already gone to Kailasa. Means you have gone to Shiva and Parvati. This particular upasana is known as Sarupya upasana. It means you have already gotten my form. Okay, Sarupya. You have already gotten my form. You have become Shiva and Parvati. You have gone there. So you see this upasana is like Saguna upasana, right? So for mukti, how easily Acharya is guiding us here. So we saw Salokya, Samipya in 4th shloka, and we saw Sarupya in the 6th shloka. Okay, so this is the Tatparya of the shloka. And one more thing, on the 6 faces of Shanmukha, it is said in some of the Puranas, right? Some of the Shastras. What was the occasion? He came as a Shanmukha and manifested himself, right? So at one point, it so happened, the sage Sanat Kumara, Narada, Agastya, Brahma, Saraswati and Indra, all of them were meditating on Subrahmanya, and then he wanted to bless all of them at the same time. So he took 6 faces. And then for each of those faces, there is another letter called Sharavana Bhava. Okay. Like Namah Shivaya Okay, we have Sharavana Bhava. So Sha, basically the letter Sha, chanting Sharavana Bhava gives Shri, which is Lakshmi. Ra gives Vidya, which is education and knowledge. Va gives Bhoga and Moksha. Okay, Na gives Shatru Samhara. Shatru means all your internal enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsaryam. All that will go away by chanting the Na in that. And Bha, it is Mrityujayam. You will conquer Yama. Okay. Sharavana Bha Va. Let me see what Va stands for. I had it written down somewhere. Okay, I will okay, just give me 1 second, okay? Yeah, Va means good health, diseaseless life. Okay. Sha gives you Shrihi, Lakshmi. Ra gives you Vidya, knowledge. The third letter Va gives Bhoga and Moksha. The fourth letter Na gives Shatru Samhara, which is all your internal enemies. And fifth one, Bha gives Mrityu, Jaya. And the sixth letter Va gives Noyatra Varvum, means, like a healthy life. That is what Sharavana Bhava means. This is the Tatparya of this shloka. Okay. So let me see the time and see what we can do. Oh, it is already 8:57. Okay. Every day I want to do 4 shlokas, but I end up doing only 2. Okay. I don't know whether it's a good thing or bad thing. So anyway, does anybody has any question here? Hello? Did I lose all of you?
No. You can hear
No
it.
questions,
Very
I
good.
think.
Okay. So either everything was very clear or everything was like very confusing. Nobody wants to talk.
Everything is
Light
clear.
too.
You explained in detail.
லைட் போயிட்டு அதான் பேச முடியல.
Sorry, சொல்லுங்க.
ரொம்ப லைட் போயாச்சு அதான் பேச முடியல.
Okay. Thank you.
ரொம்ப அருமையா இருந்தது. ரொம்ப தேங்க்ஸ்.
Okay, no problem. Please practice these shlokas. I also want you to record, okay? Now that we have done 6 shlokas, like we have the first recording, right? So you go through all the 6 shlokas, and can each one of you like chant this and practice this, and then if you want to record it and send it to me, it is fine. Like நீங்க ஐபோன்லயோ உங்க போன்ல வந்து ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணி அனுப்பிச்சேன்னா, all I can do is, okay, just hold on, I'm going to stop the recording here. Just give me 1 second.